You know, right, the podcast that uncovers the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, entertainment, entrepreneurship, and so much more. Nick Durst here, along with Joe Calabrese. And Joe, what can we say about our guest today? I mean, she's dynamite.
I like
Literally
that.
dynamite. That's a great one. So this is not the first. So we've had a former Harlem Globetrotter on with us before. We had Dante Hammer Harrison a
Oh,
couple weeks
nice.
ago. So a little background about the Globetrotters once more. Since 1996, the iconic worldwide basketball organization has served the community, providing a unique family experience. The Blanche Trailblazers have broken down significant barriers through the years in the last 100 years, and given opportunities for Black men and women to show off their authentic personality, skill set, and talents. So once again, we would like to welcome Harlem Globetrotters player TNT Lister. She's literal dynamite, TNT. How are you today? Thank you for joining us. My first question, really, before we get started with all of this, is what is your
Okay.
actual name?
So my actual name is Fatima Lister.
Okay,
Yes.
but you're still dynamite.
There you go. All day.
So how'd you get the nickname? When did you start going by that? Was it before the Globetrotters, or when did you
Uh,
take on that TNT moniker?
yeah. I mean, like many of the players on the team, we kind of get our nickname when we go to training camp for the
Yeah.
first time. And they kind of, see how you play, see what your personality is like, and then they give you a nickname. And they happen to give me TNT because I am the bomb. So, I definitely love the nickname.
Love that. So, according to your profile page, you grew up in Colorado Springs, right?
Yeah.
How was life growing up there in Colorado?
Yeah, from Colorado Springs. It was cool. I mean, you don't really know it, because you haven't been anywhere else. But, looking back now, it's definitely a very unique experience, especially for, just a little girl who just loved basketball. And the fact that I was able to make it out of Colorado Springs and become a Harlem Globetrotter, I definitely don't take that for granted. And just Colorado in general, I think it's such a beautiful place. I don't know if you guys ever been, but especially if you're into like outdoors and stuff like that, we have some of the most beautiful scenery that you'll see. So my whole immediate family is still there. So I go back often.
Very nice. I used to have some family in Durango, Colorado.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always tell me what I gotta watch out for the bears roaming the streets.
Yeah, yeah. It gets a little bit crazy with some of the wildlife. We have Rocky Mountains there, so you get anywhere
Yeah.
close to there, or Cheyenne Mountain, get anywhere
Yeah.
close to there, and yeah, you
I've
can
never
run into
been
some stuff.
to Colorado, but I've flown over it. And I mean, the Rocky Mountains for a blow are just breathtaking. When you look out
Yeah.
and see that, beautiful, it's a beautiful sight for sure. I gotta go to Colorado one day, Joe. Go see a
Yeah.
game, or maybe it's different Broncos, Nuggets. A
I
lot of
hope
options
so.
out there. A change.
Avalanche. Yeah, we got some pretty good teams out there.
Absolutely. So you started playing basketball in middle school. You also excelled in volleyball and track and field. You were awesome. You set Colorado State records for long jump and triple jump. What did you truly believe was your best sport growing up?
You know what? It's funny that you say that because a lot of people thought track and field was my best sport, and they thought that would be my best chance of becoming pro at something. But I just absolutely fell in love with basketball, and like there was no change in my mind. So I was like, I don't care if I have to, go to college for track and then try out for basketball. And then luckily for me, it worked out, and some schools reached out in terms of basketball. But I mean, if you want to go, I don't know. I guess track, you would have to say, right? Because I guess I did more in track in terms of my resume, but well, not anymore, but back then, yeah.
Well, pursuing basketball certainly worked out for you. You
But
started your
yeah,
collegiate career in New Mexico before transferring to Temple, and you got to be coached under the legendary Dawn Staley. Amazing. What
yeah.
was what was she like, and do you have any notable or favorite stories about her off the top of your head?
Yeah. I mean, I really admire Dawn, and I'm really happy that I had a chance to go there, and someone had like told me like, hey, I think she would be interested in you if you know decided to change schools, and I was just thrilled at her like offering me a full ride like my second day on my recruiting trip. So I was like, oh man, so that was a dream come true. But I think one of the most things I admire about her is that she kind of taught me about charity and like about kind of balancing your life. So, you know, she's playing basketball. She at the time she's like in the WNBA and coaching us. So like she was doing both of those things at once. She's giving back to the community, she's helping her family, and she's like doing it seamlessly. And I just that really sparked something in me, you know, to try to do my part in terms of giving back. And another reason why I love being a Globetrotter because we do a lot of things like that as well. And as far as the story, I do have one story that I love. I probably told it a million times, and I'm going to tell it forever, I think. So, you know, she won her first national championship. She's on her third one now, but her first one, she sent a replica of the national championship trophy to every player that played for her. So, like, she sent that with like a letter that said, because of you, you know, I was able to win a championship. And I thought that was just one of the most thoughtful things that I had heard of. I mean, who like thinks to do that? Since who even I mean I can imagine how much it costs to even do that. So I thought that was just so just so I don't know, just kind and thoughtful. That's one of my favorite stories about her. So I tell that story all the time.
Absolutely amazing. I remember hearing that a few years ago. So
Yeah,
you're graduating. What were you thinking at that time? Like your career aspirations? What were you looking to go into? I know you have some hobbies, including art,
yeah,
design, and digital media and stuff like
oh,
that.
yeah.
What were you taking advantage of while being on scholarship as far as studying wise? And what were you initially thinking, if not the WNBA, what
Right.
I do after school?
So I got a degree in advertising, and I do. I love how that works. I love trying, figure out different markets and figure out different trends. And um, I found that that was just another way for me to be creative, and think outside the box and try to, get the pulse on what's going on in the world and stuff like that. So that was something that I was super interested in. Not to mention, I kind of felt like I could incorporate art into there, like, designing different layouts and stuff like that, making things pretty. So if I wasn't playing basketball, I would either be doing that or a little bit more on the technical side and doing user interface or user experience or something like that.
All right, so let's say someone wanted to come to you, was like, I need help with my user interface or some like
Yeah,
design and stuff. Is that something you're open to? You open for business? How could somebody contact you for your services in that extent?
yeah. I'm glad you. I like you. I'm glad you asked me that. I I've actually done a little bit of freelance in that realm. So yeah, I mean, just hit me up on socials, whatever. I don't have an official like website you can go to. It's something that I kind of do on the side. Being a globetrotter, being a mom, wife, I kind of have to pick and choose, my little windows to do extra things. But I'm super, super open to that. I would love that. I even try to help the Globetrotters with some of their, stuff in that area just for fun.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's something that I actually do enjoy doing.
awesome. So
Yeah,
2011, you make history, you're breaking boundaries here, you become the first female Harlem Globetrotter since way back in 1993.
yeah.
Describe the process of becoming a Globetrotter. Was it on your radar? Did you ever get approached? And what is it like representing such a well-known global brand, doing what you love, playing basketball?
Yeah, so 2011, I had just come back from overseas. I was playing in Sweden. I played in Sweden for 2 years, pro basketball, and I was just training. I'm training like some of the kids there. I'm training myself. I don't know if I would say I'm training them. I'm letting them come with me while I train, and then they're. So I think the Globetrotters heard about me through that, and one of the scouts it was like, "Hey, you should try out for the Globetrotters." And at the time, like, I have never known a woman to be on that team. Like, I'm like, huh? And they're like, just come, just come. And I was kind of dragging my feet a little bit because I was just ignorant. I didn't know, I wasn't in the know. And then the day before, they're like calling me like, hey, did you register? Did you register? I'm like, no, I didn't get a chance. They're like, what? Just come down. So I show up. I have like my temple shirt on. There are other players there. They got like jerseys, they have their names on the back, and I'm talking to them. They're like, "Yeah, I flew in from Ohio." I'm like, "Oh, this is a big deal."
Mhm.
I'm like, "This is a big deal." So we all just start working out together, and there was probably I say 15 guys and like four women, including myself, and we all just worked out side by side, and I did really well. So I got a chance to do a follow-up interview that went pretty well. It was a traditional interview, and then they offered me a contract, and I'm like, oh, so like I hadn't even told my family I tried out for the team. So I'm like, all right, once I get the contract, then I'll let my mom know. So I get the contract, and I'm like, mom, guess what? I tried out for the Globetrotters, and she's like ecstatic. She's like, oh my goodness, I remember them, this and that. And I'm like looking up the Globetrotters, just looking into the history. I'm like, oh, this is a big deal. Like they haven't had a woman in a long time, like almost 20 years. So it kind of started hitting me. Um, but yeah, definitely one of the best things that's happened to my career, just in terms of experience. And I feel like this is one of the most unique experiences you can have, basketball experience you can have. So I feel really fortunate to be a part of it.
Listen, people don't realize this, like oh, the WNBA, NBA, like it's
Yeah.
really tough, but they have it easy now. I mean, WNBA recently with the chartered flights as of recently,
Uh,
NBA has it so easy. They'll take a jet, maybe they'll play it back to back, they'll hang out for 3, 4 days. Globetrotter, you're
yeah.
on the road for what, like 9 months a year. I mean, it's a serious grind. You're playing multiple times per week. If you go into a town, maybe you're playing like 6, 7 days in a row. You're constantly performing all around the country and the world, so you got to make sure that passport's up to date, of course. So, how does traveling and time on the road affect your personal life, your family or
Yeah.
friends, and really what's like the schedule like as far as it being a Globetrotter?
Yeah, no, you're right. It's a very grueling schedule for sure. I think we just kind of make it look easy because have such a good time on the court, and like we're doing tricks and we're laughing, and so people think it's all jokes. But no, it's tough. You can definitely be on the road anywhere from like 6 to 8 months sometimes, kind of depending on what you get assigned to. And when I say assigned, we have one team, but they'll break us up into three units so that we can tour in different cities at the same
Mm.
time. So it kind of depends on what you get assigned to, because we have European, we have international tours, and so your year can get pretty long. And for me, like I mentioned, I have two children, a 6-year-old and a 7-month old.
Ooh,
Uh,
congratulations.
Congratulations.
thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm also married, so it takes a lot of balancing and a lot of teamwork and communication. And
Yeah.
I got really fortunate with my partner. He's amazing, in terms of just supporting me. I met him at Temple, so he knows how much basketball means to me. So I got really lucky with that. But yeah, it's tough, but I feel like I've kind of found a sweet spot where I'm able to kind of, give both of those worlds my all. So I feel like I've been really fortunate with that.
Physically, it's difficult, obviously, especially with the older you get, the more travel you're doing to be ready for
Yeah.
games. And that's obvious. But I'm curious, like nutritionally wise, like what's it like eating on the road? We saw
Uh,
wrestlers, they're always on the road. It's really tough. So what are they giving you catering? What's your typical diet when you're traveling with the team?
Yeah, that does get tough, especially considering what time the game is. The game is, from 7 to we probably get out there around 10:30, and that's usually the time where, restaurants and stuff
Yeah.
are their busiest and they're starting to close down. So it takes a lot of planning. It depends on what your dietary needs are. Some players are a little bit more health conscious than others. So you got to do some pre-planning. Know that, oh hey, we're gonna be in this city at this time. Maybe I can pre-order something. We do have really great trainers who will help you with your diet and
Mhm.
making sure that you're getting the things that you need. And then at the arenas, they definitely make sure we have the things we need in order to at least be able to play in the game and be hydrated and have energy. So you got all the drinks, all the fruit, all that stuff. So yeah, it's tough though. It's really
Absolutely.
tough.
So with all of your experience and you're talking about it before you joined the Globetrotters, kind of like teaching some people, we ever approached to potentially be a college assistant coach? Is coaching
Mm.
something you consider in the future?
Yeah, I considered it early on, as soon as I got out of college. I actually signed with the WNBA team when I got out of college, and I ended up not making the team, making the final roster. So after that, I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna start coaching. Um, but I found that those kind of things you have to be really passionate about because it's a lot of work. It seems like it's you have to show up every day, be there for the workouts, be there for the recruiting. And I didn't feel like I was finished playing.
Hmm.
I didn't feel like I had it in me to dedicate myself to that. So I picked back up trying to, play, and things worked out. I ended up overseas for a couple of years. And then the Globetrotters came, and, I've been doing this for 13 years. So I never really got a chance to circle back. But I think I would be open to it. I don't think I love it as much as I love tech. So I'm hoping to, crack into that tech world once I'm finished with this. But, you never know.
Right. If it's in the cards, it's in the cards.
Yeah, I've learned that,
It's
man.
written in the
I'm
stars,
not gonna
written in the
stress it.
stars. If it happens,
Written in the
Yeah,
stars for the Globetrotters. So
yeah,
you mentioned you played in Sweden,
yeah.
other places you've been internationally. So I want to talk about just favorite cities in general that you've traveled to. It could be within the United States, could be internationally as well.
Yeah.
Favorite people, right, that you've got the opportunity to meet, maybe celebrities
Hmm.
along the way, and other fun experiences in general. Because there's a lot that comes with being a Harlem Globetrotter. Like we keep mentioning, it's just an iconic brand. It's always going to be around. It's always going to be there, for families to go out and take their kids to. So again, favorite cities, people you've gotten to meet, and if there's anything else fun along the way that you wouldn't have gotten to experience, outside being a Harlem Globetrotter, we would love to hear about it.
Yeah. I mean, 13 years, I've had a chance to do some pretty cool stuff. So I'm definitely gonna try to just pick some of my top ones. As far as traveling goes, man, I went to New Zealand and Australia, and they were like awesome. Like, especially New Zealand because they did like their traditional dance to welcome us to their land, and like they showed us some of their, sacred sacred buildings, and it was cool. It was one of the most unique experiences that I've had. I went to Jerusalem. I don't know if you guys are religious people or spiritual people or whatever. But it was really cool to, just see some of the things that are
holy
talked
moly.
about in different, like, you know. Um as far as like just places I think are beautiful, Monaco, that's right outside of Italy. Oh my goodness, it was gorgeous. So those would be like my top three or four for traveling. Um, and then my experiences, I got to shoot baskets with Barack Obama at the White House
Wow.
once. So
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
yeah, that was like really cool. Um, and I think what I took from that, and just, from him, is like he was so good at making everyone feel comfortable and just feel like it was just, we're just kind of hanging out, but
Right.
you know, you can't forget that, the Secret Service came in like 30 minutes earlier and like scoped the place out. And like there are people watching every interaction you have with him. So I thought that was really unique that he knew how to just make you feel like he's just a guy at like the gym. And then like he had to do push-ups, and then we're like, you don't have to do, like, we were playing a game with the kids, and it's like if you miss your free throw, you got to do push-ups. So like he shoots, and it's like clank, and it's like, you don't really have to do it. And he's like, no, no, I'll do it. And like he was a really good sport. So
How many
those are
push-ups did he do?
you only had to
10?
do like five, bro. You only
All
had to do
right.
yeah. He had good form. Yeah, good for him. He did the right, he did it in the right way. So no, I thought that was super funny. Yeah, those are some of my top experiences.
Tremendous. So,
Uh,
in your life or your career, what would you say is your you know I'm right moment? What I mean by that, it's a time or place where you wanted to pursue something. You asked somebody for advice. They said to you, don't do that. That's a bad idea. It's not going to work out. And you were like,
mhm,
you know what? I'm going to do it. Okay. And in the
mhm.
end, you'll see why it is that I'm right about this. And I can tell you, I told you so.
Yeah, I mean, no shocker here. It's definitely basketball, man. There's been people along the way, like I said, oh, you're better at track. You should pursue track. And I remember one specific story I think that sticks in my mind for whatever reason. It was like from our JV coach, and he's like, "Oh, you'll never play college basketball. Your left hand sucks," and blah blah blah. And at the time, it hurts to hear that kind of thing. But honestly, it was just motivation. I was like, "Oh yeah," and I just kind of put my foot on the pedal, and from that moment on, I was, a different kind of person. I think so. Um, I think maybe my basketball career.
That definitely worked out for you. You got the
Yeah, it worked
college, you
out. It
got the
worked out.
degree.
I'd say
You're still a
so.
professional player. You're not being a professional track athlete for 12 years.
Yeah,
That's a
No.
short
that's
life.
true. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It worked out. Thank goodness.
Yes. Well, we thank you for your time. We really, really
Yeah.
appreciate it. We know you're sitting in your car right now. Clearly you got somewhere else to be real soon, so we'll let you go.
Yeah.
So, one more time, we always give our guests the last word. So if there's anything else you would personally like to share, promote for yourself, by all means, go ahead. For our listeners, for our viewers, where could we find you? And again, we thank you for your time. Really, really appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's been great, guys. Thank you. If you guys, I mean, I would just say Instagram, TNT underscore 18 underscore. I try to interact with people who interact with me on there. So, if anybody wants to stop by and say, hey, definitely, definitely come through.
All right. Thank you for your time. That's
All
going to
right.
do this
Thanks, guys.
episode of You Know I'm Right for our very special guest, Harlem Globetrotter TNT Lister, my coach, Joe Calabrese. I'm Nick Durst, and this has been You Know I'm Right.